Om Shri Sai Ram. Good evening and welcome to one more Saturday evening. Uh, I just got back last night from Delhi, uh, unscheduled visit, but actually, life is unscheduled only. The only thing scheduled is birth and death, and that scheduling is not shared by the scheduler with us. Everything else is actually unscheduled, uh, and it's meant to be uh, like a surprise. Uh, our mind doesn't like surprises, and therefore it likes to plan. And when the plans don't work, we call it disappointment, and we call it dissatisfaction, and we call it anger. And if the plans are met, then it is happiness and joy. So, so, in between this, the whole life actually goes. So I attended the farewell of my soulmate and my soul brother, Dhruva. Dhruva is incidentally the name of a star, and and it's supposedly Dhruva is a very loyal bhakta of Lord Vishnu, and like that Dhruva the star and Dhruva the bhakta, he was absolutely devoted to God, and the only thing he wanted was the mergence with God. And ever since he was a child, he used to call himself as the odd one out, because the society does not like people who do not follow the norm. So in a way, all of us who are right now attending the session are the odd ones. But it takes two odds to make an even. So the world can actually continue without the evens, but the world cannot continue without the odds, because a zero is supposed to be even, but zero has no value unless a one comes there. So the odd has actually the greatest value. So, but who calls or who decides what is odd and what is even? It depends upon point of view. Uh, what for us is the most natural thing to do, to experience the truth of ourselves, experience the inner reality while living in the external reality, for us is the truth. And anybody who's not doing it is the odd one out. But for the world, who are only exposed to the outer reality, for them, this anybody who seeks what they don't even know, they are not even aware about, anybody who seeks anything other than what they know is the odd one out. So it's so beautiful, no? The juxtaposition, the interplay of the odd and the even, the opposing forces, the good and bad. It's such a play. If you look at it, life is such a play. And you see, the beauty of this life is that we don't even know when we start playing and when we'll stop playing. So, in these 8 days that I was away, I met so many people, I saw so many faces, and I was, I witnessed, hundreds of people on airports. I watched people on the streets. I watched people on cremation grounds. I watched people standing next to the dead body of a person. I watched people in a prayer ceremony giving condolences. And I was watching everybody's expressions. And I didn't find a single person who, on the face I could read, was liberated, was free, who was playful. Everybody was caught up in some thoughts. Everybody was trying to battle with a construct, a self construct, their construct about their life, about the world, about their position. And I saw all faces all around. I'm like a scientist now, and I keep observing things. You know, who's a scientist? Scientist is a person who records evidence, data, and who collects information and then classifies it, tabulates it, and then presents it, makes a theory, and everybody, says, "Oh, this is a scientific proof. There's an evidence." So I'm like a scientist now. I observe very, very closely, much more than what people observe. And all I observed was trapped beings, trapped in something, and you could clearly see that that something has a common prevalence, because that something is where you and I are also caught. You know what it is? Our thoughts. Each one is fighting an invisible battle with their thoughts. There is something going on in the head all the time. And that is where we are stuck. Because actually, whatever construct that your mind has made and whatever thoughts are coming to you, if you examine it closely, if you were to stand aside and not participate in the thought and look at yourself and look at your mind and start watching those thoughts, then you will realize that that thought itself has no foundation. It has no basis at all, because that thought is coming from something which has no basis or reality at all. What may appear to you to be real, when you examine it closely, actually is just an appearance, because it is not real at all. Because, first of all, the thoughts are coming in the mind, and the mind itself does not exist. It is neither an organ, it is neither, a it's not a physical system in our body. It's just an idea that all thoughts come in the mind. But the mind as such is a fantasy, is a definition, is an explanation to what we cannot explain. And what comes in the mind is what we call as thoughts. And these thoughts always have a source. It always comes from something. And if we go to that source, and if you can go deeper into the source, and if you keep penetrating layer upon layer to that source, you realize that it's like a bottomless pit. There is actually no source. Everything springs from nothingness. And if Vanita would have her notepad, she would be, she used to write down some quote for the day, because there is absolutely no basis, no evidence that there is anything in this world other than nothingness. In fact, God itself is nothingness. The whole idea of this world and this duplicity and multiplicity of this world itself is nothingness. And the whole exploration, the entire journey of life is an opportunity to explore this nothingness and to realize that it is a zero sum game without a beginning or an end. And once we realize that it is nothingness, the entire stakes, the entire burden, the entire weight we have been carrying on our shoulders and in our mind just disappears. Because we are trying to seek something when actually there is nothing. This is one vast state of consciousness. And if you can leave these thoughts, and if you can leave these self constructs that we have and society has created around us over such a long period of time, then that is when we start experiencing that energy of your life, that blissful energy of nothingness. But we are such hypocrites. We are actually the biggest deceivers of our own selves, because we are constantly deceiving our own selves. We're not deceiving anybody else. This game is played by ourselves, and the only opponent that exists in this game is our own self. We are actually playing a one sided game, and we play, both sides. It's like you playing a chess with the computer, but actually the computer is also you. So you make the moves, and then you make the counter moves, and then you make the move, and then you make the counter move. And that's how we've been constantly, working on this. And actually, if we were to really understand what we are seeking, then this path is so simple. But I have seen, I as a seeker, when I was going to my guru, I've had numerous experiences. And I went searching for God, and I went searching madly in love with my guru. And one thing I learned, and which is what we talk about on, at the outset of, I think it was perhaps the day one of Atma Chalisa Parayanam. The central message of the Upanishads leapt out to me, and it was Shraddhavan Labhate Jnanam. That only those who have deep devotion to their Guru or to God or to consciousness, call whatever name, only those will get to experience the truth, will get the enlightenment, will get that knowledge. And if we look at ourselves in our lives, many of us, we are part time devotion. We are part time devotees of that idea of devotion. We don't have that sincerity. We live mired in two worlds, absolutely, utterly confused to what we are seeking. We want to get and experience this nothingness, but we don't want to part with everything that we've got. We want to have our cake and eat it too. We want to experience something which cannot be experienced by holding on to what you already have. It's a contradiction. You actually, if you are students of mathematics, then you know that the equation has to be balanced. A, you have to prove that A is equal to B. But when you know that the equation is loaded in a way that it can never be A is equal to B, then you will have to modify your equation. But we just don't realize it. We take part time holidays in the fit of devotion to get something. And whatever little bit we get, we feel satisfied with it. We think we got it. We're very happy with what we get. And we just, because our devotion is to suit our self interest. We actually, all of us, are the most selfish beings. And whereas the whole idea of creation is selflessness, just imagine, this is the beauty of contradiction, the duality. We want everything for ourselves without making any sacrifices. We can do it for a short period of time, minor adjustment, live with some discomfort, tolerate some nonsense that you have to put up because it's part time. And the bigger goal will always elude us, and we will take our pickings out of the pie, and whatever we take, we are happy with it, and we go back because we are not ready to sacrifice. We're not really ready to change. We're not ready to let go of this construct that we have made about life, and we continue to lead a life which is what is in it for me. I was a trainer and a coach at one point of time. I did life coaching, and I learned in the training jingo there is an ism which is called WIFM, WIFM, and it stands for what is it in for me. Everybody says, I'm doing something, what do I'm getting it back in return? If I'm putting X, what do I get back? It's always a transaction, it's always a business. Creation does not do business with us. God created this only to share love. It God has given us the five elements and has given us abundance of nature to enjoy in this world, but we come and start to create our own stakes. And whatever was freely available for us, we start to create our own position in it, and we start getting caught like a spider gets caught in its own web. And then we say we are trapped. Then we say it's tough, it's difficult. Actually, there's nothing difficult, there is actually nothing easy. There is actually nothing there, but we've created construct upon construct upon construct upon construct, and we believed it so much, we have put so much of energy in it, that has become a reality. And all our life we are trying to get out of it without actually wanting to get out of it. And now I've seen it, I've been here, I've been experiencing this, and I've been watching, and I realize that actually we just want everything without letting go of anything. And so therefore we are happy with what aspect of life that seems suitable to us, that is comfortable to us, that's convenient to us, we come to terms with it and we make that as our reality, and we like to live our life around it. And then we keep saying we're looking for enlightenment, we're looking for liberation, we are looking for moksha, and therefore it becomes a tough deal. It becomes such a big thing. So, to me, life is a big hoax. If you don't quote me, I will call it a fraud. Because fraud is something that somebody does to you and you think, oh my god, I got caught in it. Actually, this is a real con job of consciousness on us. We've all been conned into it and we become so serious about it. And we build these walls that we feel very difficult to shatter and break down. So we're playing this game of chess with our own selves. Actually, there are no moves to be made. That's why I love Brahmana. And I learned so much by applying that. Just don't do anything, he said. Just become silent and watch. And let everything subside. Let all the world come and fall on your head. You will realize that nothing falls. I remember this, there used to be this character in the Asterix comics who used to walk with his shield on his head. I'm forgetting his name, Getafix or whatever his name was. And he used to always think that the sky is going to fall on his head. So I'm forgetting his name. But he was a very interesting character in the Asterix comics. So he used to always be fearful that the sky is going to fall. So we're like that. We always have this invisible uh, thought which is constantly going on in our head, and we are constantly battling those thoughts, and we are always preoccupied. We are never in the moment. That's why I keep saying life in this moment, here and now. What you need to do in this moment, you should have clarity. The only difference between you and me is only one. I'm absolutely clear about life, and only I can provide you with clarity. But if you want to be clear, you can choose to be clear, provided you want clarity. But clarity based on your conveniences, based on your comforts, based on your ideas, based on your perceptions, based on what your likes and dislikes are, then good luck. If you get a new idea of that and you create a theory around it, please do share with me. Send me a postcard, drop me a line. I'd love to hear that one. So, so it's beautiful actually to go to such places. And as I had mentioned, I had shared in the group, I got the opportunity to give him to celebrate his life in the uh, prayer ceremony. I did put it on the group. To me, this was a noble life. Uh, a silent man, absolutely silent, man of very few words, but his silence gave all the messages. His silence told the depth of the soul, and it was his silence that I treasured the most. And you know what is the beauty of silence? The silence never dies. The silence actually has nothing to do with the body. And our friendship was based out of this silence. So to me, uh, he's just not gone anywhere. He was silent earlier. He continues to be silent. But he lived a life which was admirable uh, and truly a life worth learning from, emulating, and there are very few souls who take upon themselves all the pain in the world and show how righteousness can be practiced in real life without even uttering a word. And as I said, to me, there are only two examples that stand clearly out for me. One was what we have read in Ramayana about Sri Ramchandra, and then I saw very closely in action with Dhruva, truly lived up to a life which is worth celebrating. Because it's rare that something like this happens. It's rare to, be able to participate and be aware that such a life is being led. And, I felt that, why does it take for everybody to realize that when the person is gone? I really wanted to ask some of the people around and say, look, we were trying to tell you this even earlier. Nobody was listening. You take the person for granted. And actually, you ill treat the person when the person is there because the person is odd, is different. And we actually mistreat such people. And when the person goes, we are shattered. And then I'm sure in everybody's hearts the thought arises, I wish I had a second chance. But in life, there are no second chances. The opportunity is here and now because life is in this moment. Live a life which doesn't have any regrets, a life which is full of clarity. So please get clarity in your life and have the courage to live that life. And don't be swayed by what others expect out of you. And don't wear the shackles that you are going to put on yourself. Do not do that. You came as a free soul. You are a free soul. Nothing can chain you down. Don't do this disfavor to yourself that at the end of the life you have regrets and you realized mission not accomplished. All these temptations that might stop you from seeking what you want. These are just moments of weaknesses. Let that not come in the way for what is your birthright. And if you have a master, if you have a guru, then do not distrust your guru. Do not use what the guru says to your convenience and to your comfort and to your own interpretation and your definition. There is no part time devotion, there is no part time guru, there is no part time understanding of life. It either is or it isn't. And if there is a person, if you are lucky to have a person who can guide you and lead you, then fully surrender without having any doubt and understand the purity of this relationship of a guru. Don't demean it by trying to suit it to what your mind is screaming at you and telling you. Because Guru is none other than God. Guru is none other than the embodiment of that consciousness that you are seeking. It's just because if it is a person in form, just because you are able to talk and speak and relate to that person, we start to take that person for granted, and we therefore lose all that has to come our way in the delusion that comes with that form. Because the whole idea of the form is delusionary. Our own form is also delusionary, knowing fully well that in the next moment we will be off. So it's very interesting. This person was seeking liberation. He was completely detached from the world, from the family. He was just pining so hard for liberation, for merger with Bhagwan, that Baba had to change his promise that he had given to him of a long life and had to relent to his wish. But look at it. Because nobody was listening to him, he got detached. Because nobody was paying attention to him, he got detached. In the end, what happened? He got what he wanted. He got what he was really praying for. Because remember, God is looking for seekers who love him with that Shraddha. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. It's not important how much we love God. All of us love God. But what's important is how much God loves us. And He seeks this earnestness, He seeks this purity, He seeks this love. And what happens to the people who are left behind? They're shattered. And now they have to learn the painful lesson of detachment. We all have a choice. Remember, I have spoken a lot about it, and we've made enough videos and talks on this. The difference between free will and destiny. Destiny is what has to happen, will happen, no matter what. Free will is, are you going to do it willingly, or does consciousness or God will have to force it on you? Free will. There is free will. He still got what he wanted, right? Because that's what he wanted. He was very clear. He had clarity. And that's the clarity I am asking you. Do you have clarity? He had clarity. He got what he wanted. The others who were muddled, who didn't have clarity, and they were the reasons that he got the clarity. They were the instruments of him getting the clarity, and they aided him on his path. And now they are absolutely wrecked and confused and devastated. So consciousness knows that it's now their time to get clarity in life. So with one episode, so many people are being taught a lesson. We have an opportunity to learn our own lessons. Are we learning our lessons? Are we caught in our constructs? Or do we have clarity of what we are seeking? Or is this a clarity based on our convenience, self interest? I find that most of us are very, very selfish. Very selfish. We just want our things our way. And remember, I have said this many times. This is what I learned from my master and from all the masters and all lineages in our tradition. This life is not for your own self. The whole principle of creation is selfless. All the five elements are freely available for all without any kind of differences or distinctions or separation. And the whole idea was to share and flow and grow and 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 expand in this love. The minute we start to hold for ourselves and for my own thing is when we start to disconnect and detach from this whole universality of consciousness, and we start becoming these limited islands of consciousness. And that's the only thing that is separating us, because we are swimming in this sea of universal consciousness, but we are choosing to hold on to this individuality, and we are clinging on to this sense of separation and self identity, and we are choosing to be bound, we're choosing to be separate. So what liberation are we seeking? Because it's a choice we have made. We're so happy with our construct, so then we get what we deserve, we get what we seek, we become what we are seeking. So nobody is stopping our liberation, and nobody is going to grant it for us. Let me tell you, let this be very clear. The day we realize that this life is meant for sharing, remember the principle of give and give and give. Forget the get. We've come here, we are actually minuscule, insignificant drops in this ocean of consciousness. And we think we are so important, and that our ideas and beliefs are so important, and what we want and what we should get is so important, that that has consumed us. Knowing fully well that in a second, this blip of insignificance is going to be squashed and taken away and stamped and, burnt into ashes or put into a coffin and, buried, or whichever way, you'd like to disappear. Doesn't matter. That's how important we are. But you can become larger than life if you live a life of selflessness. You can become with that universal presence, that universal being, that Paramarth. If we were to let go of this idea of separation that we are holding on, and which has separated us from the whole. And this is that asat, this is that untruth we have to shatter and move into and walk into and reclaim our truth. And I am that universal whole. And I am complete and I am whole. And it's not difficult. I keep saying this. You have to just let go. A determined person can do it in a short span of time, because the determined person wants it so badly that it won't stop for anything. Are we determined? Are we really wanting it? Do we want to break this construct? Do we really have that clarity? And are we willing to do all that it takes to discover that everything so far that has happened has just been a fraud perpetrated by ourselves on ourselves? It's such a delusion, it's such an illusion, it's such a it's such a self-created movie of joys and sorrows. And then you can become a scientist like me, and you can then observe everybody else and say, okay, so that's how it is. And with that clarity and purpose, I have decided to live my life to be of service to whoever is an earnest seeker of truth. Just getting energetic experiences is not the truth, because that still doesn't liberate us. And I am ready and in the queue. When the consciousness thinks I have done my play, I am ready in an instant's notice to let go of this world. I'm neither seeking it, I'm actually not seeking liberation, I am not seeking anything. This whole idea of liberation is also, to me, is also an illusion. When I am who I am, then how can I be either liberated or bound? So I just am. The day I will die, I will be I am. After death, also, I will be I am. My body may not be there, but that is not my truth. I just hold to my truth, and in that moment, what comes to me, I do. I don't try to put my mind how it's going to happen. I don't try and think anything that the mind has constructed. I just go and do it. And when I start to do things with that clarity, everything starts to happen. The whole consciousness starts to shift and makes things happen for me. So that's how uncomplicated and how simple life can be. I invite you to do it. Quite a few people came here to try and do it with me here and stay here, but they find it very tough because letting go isn't easy. Uh, because then everything who stayed here, how I challenge you. I will poke you. I will poke you. I will poke you till everything that you have constructed doesn't go. And then, of course, most of you run away because it's too much poking. That's okay. Either you allow me to poke you or you poke your own self. Since you don't poke yourself and you come and stay with me, I have to do nothing but to poke you. What do I do? I don't like this hobby of mine, but I think that's why you come here. Energy you can get sitting where you are, so don't worry. In every meditation, you'll get the energy of love. In every satsang, you'll get the. For that, you have to just listen to videos. If you really want to transform, if you're really seeking, then to come here. So thank you so much. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.